So, Ohio Governor John Kasich is the 16th major Republican candidate to have entered the 2016 presidential race. Now, he announced, of course, earlier today. Now, Mr. Kasich, he's basically counting on his mix of executive and capital experience to try to make him seem like he's a palatable contender. Now, he's also got some pros and cons, of course, to his positions that might make him seem a little bit more moderate than the clown car, but as I'll explain later, he's not at all moderate on a lot of very important issues. But first, let's go into some of the things that he's going to try and tout during this campaign. Now, as I said, he was a congressman from 1983 to 2001, so he does have some experience in Congress. Now, that normally helps a candidate. Say, oh, look at his years and years of Washington experience. Now, these days, you get more credit and more points for being a Washington outsider. But in the establishment circles, they'll look at that and say, look at all the experience he has. He is definitely qualified. And that's not me saying that. That's establishment pundits. And you're going to hear that all over. Trust me. Now, some of his accomplishments is that in Ohio, he apparently has now a $2 billion surplus in the fund. So he's balanced the budget and actually reportedly has created a surplus. Oh, good. He also expanded Medicaid in Ohio. Now, much like the governor of Michigan has also expanded Medicaid here in Michigan. So, not a bad thing to do. Generally good if you don't want your constituents to die. So that's great. And he even said about that, when you die and get up to the meeting with St. Peter, he's probably not going to ask you much about what you did about keeping government small, but he's going to ask what you did for the poor. All right. So that's sort of his rationale. He's running on the George W. Bush compassionate conservatism. Now, we saw where that got us last time. But anyway, I'll continue. Immigration, he says he's a little bit more. After he was, of course, against any sort of immigration reform, he now says he's evolved on immigration reform, meaning that he would support a draconian pathway to citizenship. All right. Now, just like Wisconsin, Governor Scott Walker, as well as Governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder, he has gone after unions. Now, fortunately for Ohio, unions were saved, in a way. Now, he tried to pass a law that was against collective bargaining, and the good people of Ohio said, fuck that bullshit, we're going to overrule you. So, with a referendum. In November 2011, this referendum basically rebuked his law by a margin of 61 to 39 that overturned his anti-collective bargaining law. So the union sent a message in Ohio. You can't touch us. Because we got the people on our side, which is what unions usually represent. The people. And after that, Kasich was like, okay, I'm not fucking with you guys anymore. Message sent. Message received. All right. Now, so what are some of the bad things about Kasich's record? Now we get into where he is definitely not a moderate. He signed legislation in 2013 defunding Planned Parenthood, and of course mandating ultrasounds for women trying to seek a legal abortion. Oh no, that's not a good thing. You're infringing on the rights of women. And defunding Planned Parenthood, well, Planned Parenthood does a lot of things. That isn't just abortion. They do women's health screenings and contraception. A lot of good things, a lot of things that women need. You defund Planned Parenthood, they can't do any of that stuff. Not only that, but he cut federal income taxes for corporations, of course. Every Republican is on board for cutting taxes for corporations. He said on Wednesday at a luncheon with 20 members of the Charleston Metro Chamber of Commerce, we need to get that corporate tax. We need to get the corporate tax lowered. Now, he also called on to increase taxes on business revenue, cigarettes, and oil and gas obtained through fracking, and also wants to increase the sales tax. So what he's trying to do here is he's trying to basically raise taxes on good things, the oil and gas industry, but some on bad things, like raising the sales tax, which is a more regressive tax. Now, he's not as extreme as a lot of Republicans when it comes to taxation, but trust me, he's not exactly for progressive taxation, especially since he wants to lower corporate tax rates. That is not what this country needs. Corporations do not need another handout, which is essentially what a tax cut is. Now, so there are some of the negatives about Kasich, more to be, of course, revealed as the media kind of looks into his record a little bit more thoroughly. But how is he doing in the polls? Well, polls show Mr. Kasich this is from the Wall Street Journal NBC News poll. It was last month. Only 25% of Republican primary voters said that they could see themselves supporting Mr. Kasich. And he's got a name problem because only 42% even know who he is. Interesting. Now, Mr. Kasich could, of course, be considered a moderate. As you see, there's a lot of different news outlets that are, of course, trying to tout his some of his moderate stances, some of which I went through. In a swing state, Ohio is a swing state, of course, and he might be somebody to watch on the Republican ticket. However, moderates don't seem to be doing well. He's been actually likened to John Huntsman, so I don't know where you would place him on the GOP bracket if you were to do one, but I'm still not quite sure. Because just like Scott Walker, he is dangerous, but he's also not dumb like Scott Walker and not an empty suit. So we'll have to see what's going on in this, whether or not the John Huntsman comparison holds. But it's going to be interesting. And by the way, there was another thing as well that's a negative. Kasich opposes marriage equality, same-sex marriage, as a matter of policy. Now, that's not going to be a popular position anywhere you go, especially now that same-sex marriage is legal in all 50 states. But nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see where he gets on when it comes to the establishment, how much money he's going to get from corporate donors, if he's going to get some of that Jeb Bush or Scott Walker money. We'll see where he goes with this. I'm going to be watching his campaign very carefully in the coming year. We'll see how long it lasts.